Oh, Democrat Senator Sinema just quit in blow to Biden agenda. GOP prepare ballot harvesting to win 2024. Wait, what? This is the man that hates ballot harvesting. What? Okay. All right. Here we go. We're gonna hear Tim out. All right, we're gonna hear him out.
And with the election of Warnock in Georgia, election season is coming to a close. When he defeated Walker, the Democrats cheered. They have expanded their power in the Senate. There was no red wave. 51 Senate seats, Democrat, giving them a clean majority and no longer needing a tiebreaker from Kamala Harris.
Well, the issue is that the filibuster still exists. So in certain votes, when it's relevant, actually, it doesn't fucking matter. They would need 60 people for it to work. So, not really that much of a displacement of power when you think about it.
But Kyrsten Sinema announces departure from the Democrat Party and is
my God. You're talking about the woman that voted against every Democratic bill like ever proposed? What? She's leaving the Democratic Party? What? Oh my goodness. What? Oh wow. Oh my goodness. I'm so shocked.
Now registering as an independent.
Dude, again, this shit is, it's Tim Pool reading Tim Pool. Do you see this? Timcast, right there. Tim Pool is reading Tim Pool, right? This has got to be a joke. Not again, right? Timcast. There's no way. Again? We had it once. Is this just normal for him? That he just does his own shit? It is, dude. It is. Bruh, what? Wow. Okay, so we are all clear. Tim Pool, for the second time that I have seen this, is covering Tim Pool. Like, here's Tim Pool, and when you ask him, oh yeah, what's the source for that? His response would be, I fucking made it up. Because he did. This is his site. He is reading opinion pieces from his site, his website, on his YouTube channel. Yeah, completely unbiased source for this opinion. Completely unbiased source.
Independent. This means they're dropping down to 50. And when you add to the fact that you've got Joe Manchin, yeah, you could argue, I guess, 49. But let's be real.
Don't fucking get me started on Joe Manchin. I'm a West Virginian, so I've got opinions on Joe Manchin.
Sinema will probably still caucus with Democrats, but this is bad news for the Democratic Party. A lot of people are now saying, yo, Manchin, switch parties. Don't just go independent. You represent West Virginia, literal MAGA country.
Hey, fuck you, all right? I'm here. I'm in West Virginia. All right, just because most people are fucking dipshits in this state doesn't mean all of us are, all right? I'd love to have a conversation with Tim. Tim isn't at my intellectual level, though, yet. Like, I graduated from high school, and that's my complete level of intellect. Maybe less, like 8th grade, That's where I'm at. I'm, like, at an 8th grade reading level, which puts me, like, 6 years ahead of Tim.
How about you decide to save your own career and represent the people of your state properly and switch to Republican? Well, that would shift things quite a bit. But, look, there's a couple.
The issue that I have, though, is that Tim, and this is so fucking funny to me, all right? I want you to think about what he's saying right now, okay? He's saying, hey, Joe Manchin, I don't need you to change anything about the way you vote. I don't need you to change your ideology. I don't need you to change the way you think. Just change your party. Like, what the fuck does that do then? If Kyrsten Sinema is still, like, caucusing with the Democrats and she is an independent, it doesn't change anything. All of her voting will still be the same way it was before. If Joe Manchin switches to a Republican, it will be the same as it was before. We had the same thing happen here. Jim Justice was governing like a dipshit. Our governor was governing like a dipshit as a Democrat and then switched to a Republican and kept governing like a dipshit. It doesn't change anything just because you switch the little D or R. That's like literal poo brain, right? Like, your ideology doesn't just change because you switched parties. It's not like all of a sudden you're a fucking MAGA dude when you went from being a Democrat to a Republican. If you supported Trump, you would have been voting for pro-Trump bills whether you were a Democrat or a Republican. It literally doesn't matter. But to Tim, there is a clear good guy and bad guy. He lives his life by the most simplistic way, right? He has to, like, divide everything up into good and bad like a child does with, like, comic books or whatever. You know, there's a good guy, a bad guy. I mean, shit, even like there are cartoons that have more complex ideas of the world than Tim Pool does. Like, Adventure Time has a more complex moral system than Tim Pool. I'm losing it, my guy.
Independents. I think it's not just Bernie Sanders, but you've got Sinema. She'll be caucusing with Democrats all the same. Either way, this puts a major spike in the agenda of the Biden administration. It means that Democrats will be unable to shake Sinema from Arizona. You see, the strategy, it's actually quite simple. Sinema knew as a Democrat they were going to primary her, and she's never going to win a Democrat primary. But
that's true.
She is popular enough in Arizona where if she runs an independent, there is no primary.
That's
true. And they can't do anything to stop her.
That's smart.
If the Democrats try to run against her, they will lose and a Republican will win. She has created the perfect strategy and position to maintain her position in the Senate. And you got to respect it.
That's the first smart thing I think Tim Pool has said his whole life.
Got to respect it. I don't completely respect her politics. She's being ragged on by, I think it's Fetterman's guys. But you're dangerously close to losing Manchin as well. You keep ragging on him. You try and push everyone in the Democratic Party to the far left. You're going to lose.
To the far left. And by that, we mean stop taking money from coal billionaires and start supporting the working class. Like, I don't understand how you can be so vehemently anti-working class and still think you're the good guy. It's wild. Tim has just a horridly skewed version of reality in his brain, and it's because he's making these ideas, like he's saying things that he has no concept of, right? Like, he doesn't know what life is like as a working person. He doesn't know what it's like to go into a coal mine or to work for a pipeline or in a warehouse, right? He doesn't know what those things are like. So he just talks as a millionaire would about millionaire problems. He wants tax rates to be low. He wants more businesses around because he can afford to go to them, right? He's the rich upper class. So, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, being a decent human is far left. Like, wanting people to not die of, like, radiation poisoning is far left. It's fucking wild.
The question has arisen from 538. Are Democrats in the Senate screwed after 2024? Yeah, I think so. But I don't know for sure. I would say I think there's a strong possibility that things will correct themselves because we just had Scott Pressler on the show last night. You know him, you love him. And he was wearing a shirt that said Ballot Harvesting 24. Republicans are figuring it out. Even Politico is reporting they're having an epiphany. Hey, wait a minute. We lost across the board. Maybe we need to reassess our strategy.
Oh my God, dude. This is This is literally Republicans just admitting that you go low, we go low is their entire perspective of reality, right? So what he's saying is that Republicans are now talking about, Republicans are now talking about doing ballot harvesting, which first and foremost I said is generally speaking not really that corrupt anyway, but they think that it's like the reason the 2020 election like went sour, and it's the reason the 2022 election went sour. Like those things went in Democrat favor strictly because of these people ballot harvesting. And all ballot harvesting is a private person goes around and takes people's ballots and drops them into the ballot box. Now, the only way that you can do anything illegal with ballot harvesting, the only way is to destroy ballots, right? That's it. That's the only way. You can't forge them or fake them, because after they enter the ballot, like receptacle, right, where they drop things off into, right, and the person picks them up and takes them in, the like official election employees take them in, they have to then go through and put the ballots in, right? So unless someone destroys a ballot and throws it away, there's no way to falsify anything there. They have to like just throw votes away. And that doesn't necessarily help, because unless you're opening them up, you're not going to know which ones you're throwing away, and you can't give them an already reopened ballot because there are seals on them. So generally speaking, it doesn't work, right? But the issue is that Republicans think it does, right? Republicans think that ballot harvesting is like hella dangerous, destructive, corrupt. It's the reason Joe Biden and Hugo Chavez stole the election from us. And now they're saying they're going to start doing it, right? So this is just them straight up going, well, you go low, we go low, right? We don't have principles. We just want power. That's it. We just want to win, baby. That's all we want. So let's stop pretending like that's not what they're doing, right? Can we all do that? Like, as people on the left, can we just be like, oh, clearly, like, look at this. Very obviously, Republicans don't give a shit about principle anymore. All they want is power.
Here's the problem with conservatives. I'll simplify it in a few little points.
All right, let's hear it.
They care more about the opinion of the New York Times and their own constituents. They care more about the opinion of Time Magazine than their own readers. Zelensky, he's the Time Magazine Person of the Year, and I'm seeing all these conservatives be like, I can't believe they'd pick that guy. And it's like, who cares? Nobody reads the magazine. Stop holding these things to such esteem. They are pointless.
All right. I'm pretty sure people read Time Magazine. I'm kind of curious. I'm looking it up real quick. Time Magazine. How many readers? 1.6 million physical copies in circulation. So I'm sorry, Tim, but like, actually, yeah, there are more people subscribed to Time than to you, buddy, and you're like the most watched political analyst on YouTube. So it seems to me like people read the Times. Whatever.
Conservatives saying things like, we got to get our messaging straight if we're going to win in 2024. No, you don't. No, you don't. You need to go door to door and ballot harvest. You need to go door to door where it's legal, knock and say, please, I'll take your vote. And you know what? It may be more expensive for conservatives than for liberals because rural areas are spread out, but that's how you win. As the story goes,
that's how you win, guys. It says it outright. Ballot harvesting is how you win. I would love to have a debate with him over ballot harvesting, because this man unironically has no fucking idea what it is and how it works. It's insane. He thinks it single-handedly will win an election.
Orange County turned blue somehow. It's a
Wait. Like, again, this is so easy. Orange County. I'm assuming he's talking... Is he talking in California?
reliably Republican area. Rural areas are spread out, but that's how you win. As the story goes, Orange County turned blue somehow.
Orange County, like California? Orange County, California. Demographics. Huh. It's weird. After looking at Orange County's demographics, only about 38% of people there are white. I wonder if that's maybe why they voted blue. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but you know. Oh well. Right, exactly. It has nothing to do with like them being upset about potentially someone invalidating something. It's because people that can't get out of their homes are going to be able to vote. And if every human can vote, if you look at just everyone in the country, registered Democrats and registered Republicans, and you split independents down the middle, guess what, buddy? There's more of us than there are of you. So if everyone can vote, Democrats always win. So that's the goal behind them demonizing ballot harvesting, is this idea that if you give your ballot, like you're not able to even get out of your house for some reason, you give your ballot to someone who's going to take it to the local polling place for you and then give it to people, right? You can vote. You have access to voting. And by taking away that access, they're more likely to hurt Democrats than Republicans. And that's the key. That's how you do it.
It's a reliably Republican area. And then Republicans figured out ballot harvesting and it turned red again. So, universal mail-in voting, that was their strategy. It may not last, because this is what we're seeing now. PredictIt has something funny to say, though. The predicted market...
God, dude, I hope they think this, and I hope they keep thinking this forever. Oh my God, dude, please, yes. Think that the way to win elections is universal mail-in ballots, but Republicans giving it to people. Please, fuck, dude. Oh my God, that would be so funny. That would be hilarious. They would personally ruin their entire political campaign just because they're dipshits. That would be so funny, dude. Holy shit, yes. Give me some of that. Oh my God. Yes, that's what I want. That is what I want. Keep going, Tim.
Are predicting Joe Biden will win re-election.
Oh, if he runs,
Granted,
yeah.
it's still very, very early. And boy, it's December now, and I'm excited for primary season, which will begin heating up in the next few months. But let's take a look at...
God, dude, isn't it shitty that America has just a 24/7 constant election cycle? As soon as you're done with your midterm elections, then you have to look towards special elections. And by the time the special elections are over, you have to pay attention to who's going to be primarying who. And then you have to go back into the general election, and then to the special election, and then to the midterm. And then, just over and over. Oh, man. Sisyphusian, am I right? Jesus.
What Kyrsten Sinema has to say and what this may mean for the Democratic Party.
Let's listen to what, again, Tim has to say. Tim, on Timcast News, has to say while Tim at Timcast YouTube is commenting on it. Let's hear what Tim has to say about Tim talking about Kyrsten Sinema.
I'll tell you right off the bat, outright bad news for Biden's agenda. They would love to replace Sinema with a yes man or someone whose brain doesn't work so that they can just get them to say whatever they want them to say, but it ain't going to be Sinema. She's certainly no conservative, but they are having trouble. They're having a hard...
You notice how there's a distinct difference between there? Conservatives that toe the party line and say exactly the same thing as Trump are intelligent, capable individuals whose brains work and are great. But Democrats that toe the same party line as other Democrats are dumbasses. They have no brain. They're NPCs. They're robots that exist only to give a vote. Again, Tim tries to play this down the center straight man, being I know what I'm talking about. I'm a classical liberal. I don't have any biases. And then he consistently makes fun of just the Democrat side, just the Democrat. It's crazy.
Hard time controlling her. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com. Become
I
a member
sure won't.
tonight. It'll be available.
Sure don't care.
In an op-ed published Friday, Sinema said she was motivated to drop her party affiliation and register as an independent, in part because of the rigid partisanship that has become the status quo in Washington, saying, everyday Americans are increasingly left behind by national parties' rigid partisanship, which has hardened in recent years. Pressures in both parties pull leaders to the edges, allowing the loudest, most extreme voices to determine their respective parties' priorities and expecting the rest of us to fall in line.
Now, Tim has two things he can say here. One that he's going to say and one that would be reasonable, okay? The one that is reasonable is, and this is something you can see from both parties, people like Trump being able to control such a huge part of the GOP, despite the fact that he has some wild, ridiculous views on things just by riling up a base. Or people like Bernie Sanders being the primary reason that the youth has become more democratic, because they've riled up a base. So you can see the extreme ends of both parties kind of pulling towards that side, right? That's more reasonable. That's intelligent, all right? That's smart. That is actually down the middle, centered, and respectable. Now, what Tim's gonna say is, and you can see this with the far left, Antifa, Black Lives Matter people that are trying to burn down your cities. Like, just wait. He's gonna say almost nothing about the extremism anywhere in the right, even though the right has literally tried to attempt a coup on American democracy in the past, it was 2020, so in the past 2 years. They just jumped in like headlong, or it would have been 2021. So 1 year, just a year ago, almost 2 years now. Yeah. So yeah, it's wild. I guarantee nothing about Republicans. You know what? I might be wrong though. And if I'm wrong, we'll end the segment and I'll just thank Tim Pool.
In catering to the fringes, neither party has demonstrated much tolerance for diversity of thought. Bipartisan compromise is seen as a rarely acceptable last resort, rather than the best way to achieve lasting progress. Payback against the opposition party has replaced thoughtful legislating. Well, I'm not here to defend Republicans. I'm not a fan. But certainly there's like Rand Paul. And then in the House, you have Thomas Massie. There are Republicans who are trying. Bernie Sanders actually has compromised more than Kamala Harris ever did. People were saying Kamala Harris was the furthest left politician in the Senate. That's not true. Bernie Sanders was. But the reason they said that was because Bernie Sanders actually compromised with conservatives on certain bills. Now, here's what I want to point out. It says they will not be that she will not be caucusing with Democrats as an official member of the party moving forward. Aha. You see, that's what's going to happen. She'll still likely caucus with Democrats.
Okay. No, Tim proved me wrong. Wow. I mean, he didn't talk about the extremism in the party, but man, I mean, I said we'd have to end the segment if he was nuanced. I'm proud of him, man. This is the smartest thing I've seen out of him for a while. What a smart boy. Chef's kiss.